Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Linda. If you're a new subscriber, you're welcome. And if you're a returning subscriber, you're so much loved. Here on this channel, I share videos about sewing, pattern drafting, and fashion in general. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you guys how to draft this armhole bustier corset top. And if this seems like what you're interested in, you might definitely want to hit the subscribe button. So let's do this. So guys, welcome back. So the first thing I'm going to do is to draft my basic bodice. So I'll be taking this line, this measurement at the top like so, which is going to form my starting line. And from there, I'm just going to draft out the shoulder measurement and then mark the neckline which I want to use for now. This is not really the neckline I'm going to use because I'm going to deviate from that as time goes on. So after that, I went down by 1 inch at this point to form my shoulder slope, and I'm just using my ruler to connect it into a straight slanted line. And next, I'm going to be measuring half of my armhole measurement, which is 8, and also I'll go ahead and rule a line to illustrate that. Now the next thing I'm going to do right now after that is just to draw out a dotted line like this to identify my chest line. That was going to serve as my upper chest line. So after that, the next thing I'll be doing right now is to take the quarter of my bust circumference, and that is going to be 9.5, and also I'll be marking that. And then I'm going to be taking my mid armhole measurement. I'm going to be dividing by 2 and get the midpoint from there, and also go inwards from that point with 0.5 inches and then connect the line like you see me pointing. I'm going to be using my French curve to do this. If you wish, you can go ahead and use your hand and connect that, but I recommend you use a French curve or a ruler. So now the next thing I'll be doing is to take my bust point measurement and the rest of the measurements, which is going to be the under bust by 13.5. I'm going to be marking as well my waistline, which is 17 inches. I initially wanted to mark 18 inches, but I'll be using 17. And now the length of my top is going to be 22 inches. And I will do well to connect that into a straight line with my ruler. So guys, the next thing I'll do is just to go ahead and label these lines. This is my bust point, this is going to be my under bust, this is going to be my waistline, and then this is going to be the length of my top, or the top length. Okay, so now I'll be taking my nipple to nipple measurement, which is 4 inches. You can as well call it bust span. And now I'm going to be taking that measurement all the way down to the top length. And now I'm going to be connecting that into a straight line as well. So guys, the next thing I want to do right now is to take in my dart measurement. I'm going to be measuring 0.5 inches on both sides of the line. And then around the bust point measurement, I'm going to be coming down by 1 inch for there. If you are busty, you take 1.5. If you are less busty, you take 1 inch, okay? So now I'm going to be connecting that line into a slanted line to meet at the bust point side and also at the waistline. This is going to be the dart we are using for this top. Now I'm going to be taking the circumference or the radius of my bust, and I'm going to be starting from the bust point like you see me marking. So I'll be marking from this point down to this point, and I'll get to find out what I have there. So I have 3.5, and that is the distance from my bust point to my under bust. I'm going to use that to rotate into a circular line, which is the radius we are looking for. So I'll be marking this all through. If you want, you can go ahead and use a compass, or you can as well use this method which I am using right now. And I bet you guys, if you take your time, you're going to get it right. Do not rush, and just making this in a fast forward motion so that I won't have to waste unnecessary time. And now I am done with it. The next thing I will be doing right now is to come at this point. I'll be going inwards at this point by another 0.5 inches, which is half of an inch, and also at the opposite side, half an inch on both sides. And I'll also go ahead and connect it towards the 1 inch mark I did around the bust point. So coming into shape, I'll go ahead and connect this into a straight line, and I'll do the same thing for the opposite side as well. And to highlight this part, which is going to be the main part we are using for this tutorial. And after that, I'm just going to measure what I have for the shoulder slope, and I will get the midpoint, and as well, I will connect a line from there. So for that, I have 5 inches, and the midpoint is going to be 2.5. And the next thing I'll do is to connect it straight to the bust point. After that, the next thing I'll be doing is to get what I have at this point, which is the under bust area, and I'll then duplicate what I have there around this point, which is somewhere around my chest, okay? So I decided to go upwards by half of an inch because I don't want to reveal any cleavage. So guys, if you want your cleavage or your boobs to be revealed, just go ahead and skip this part. So I'll be marking 1 inch this part and then half of an inch on the other side. This is basically me allocating the 1.5 inch that intake I have below. So I'm just going to connect that into a curved line with my curved ruler, and also I'll be doing the same thing on the other side as well. Now, after that, I'm going to be coming inwards at this point by 1/4 of an inch, which is 0.25, and also I'll be using a ruler to connect that one more time. This is to make it latch or stay firmly on the bust. After that, I ensure that I have the same 0.5 inches which I used initially for the coverage of the bust. So I'm just going to mark that on both sides of the line. And then I'm just going to be doing away with the initial line I drew. So now I'm working with the second one. Next, I'll go ahead and connect this cup. I'll go ahead and shaping it out. And guys, while I was marking this, I totally forgot I was supposed to go upwards at this point by 1 inch or at least half of an inch. And that has left an opening in the middle of my bust. So take note while you are drawing that. So now the next thing I'll be doing is to come in at this point by half of an inch. And I'll be connecting a line from there to meet at the shoulder. And now I'm going to be marking a short curved line to meet at that new line. Like this. Now you can tell that the shape is coming into place. And the next thing I'll be doing is to connect the under bust line. So I'll be connecting the cup for the under bust as well. And then I'll be repeating the same thing for this side. To do this part, I'm going to be taking what I have from this line and getting the midpoint. So I'll be using that to guide the cup for the other parts. So guys, you can see how beautiful this is looking already. So I'm just going to connect this part like this and complete it. And the next thing I'll be doing right now is just to highlight it with my red pen for you guys to understand what I'm talking about, just as seen on the picture. Next, I'm going to be taking my body measurement. I already took my bust circumference, 1/4 of my bust circumference, and I'm going to be adding my dart intake at that point, which is 1.5, and also I'll be adding my general stitching allowance, which is 1.5. You can go ahead and use 2 inches if you wish. Now I'll be marking the same thing at the waistline. I'll be measuring 1/4 of my waistline measurement, which is 7.5, and then I'll be marking the dart intake, which is also 1.5, and then I will include the stitching allowance, which is 1.5 as well. I'll also go ahead and do the same thing on my top length. So my top length is somewhere around my upper waistline, and I'm going to be measuring what I have there. I have 36 around that part, and then 1/4 of that is going to be 8 inches. So 8 inches plus that intake I'm marking, which is 1.5, and then the general 1.5 stitching allowance. So after I was done marking this, I'm just going to connect the 3 lines like this. So guys, I would need to mention to you guys that I wouldn't be adding my Basque effect on this particular pattern. I'll do that when I am about to cut it on my fabric. Okay, that's another trick I learned from Style by Remy. And then the next thing I'll be doing is to complete the armhole curve. You can see that I'm going downwards by half of an inch. This is because it is a sleeveless top, so I need to get some ease and fresh air around there. So guys, I need to tell you guys once more, I am not adding my Basque effect right now. I'm going to be adding it on my fabric later on. So I'm going to be removing this that you see me marking, and also this that's going to be about that I'm taking away, and now I'm just going to cut it all through. So guys, after I was done cutting, the next thing I did was to label my cups. This is going to be cup 1 and this is going to be cup 2. And this part for the center front is going to be the number 3 and then this is going to be number 4. So I have about 4 pieces here and I'm going to be drafting out the back right now. So I have gone ahead to draft my basic bodice for the back. I also do the same thing I have for the front. Just in case you want to see the full video on how to draft the basic bodice, I have a tutorial on my channel and I'm just going to link that up on the screen or in the description box, okay? So I did it to save more time. Next thing I'll be doing right now is to mark the nipple to nipple measurement, which is the bust span, and I'm just going to connect that into a straight line. If you notice clearly, you can see that I've already gone ahead to label my lines. I have the under bust line, I have the waistline, I have the top line. Top length for my back piece is going to stop at the waistline. Guys, if you can see what I am doing, I'm only using the chest line and the waistline because that is where my back piece is going to stop. So what I am currently doing is just basically cross-checking the measurement between the front piece and the back piece. So I'm just going to be placing the shoulder part and the bust part like this, and also I'll be marking the neckline, which is the false neckline because it has been divided into 2. I'll just go ahead and mark my neckline from this point and take the desired shape of my back neckline. Guys, you can also go ahead and take whichever neckline you want to take for this. You can take the V neckline, you can take the square neckline, or even the smaller neckline, which is also 2 inches from the shoulder part. Now I'm just going to remove this part, and this is my back piece. It's almost ready. The next thing I'll be doing right now is just to go ahead and check what I have for my body measurement. I'll be marking that. So for my bust circumference, quarter of that is going to be 9.5, and then I'll be adding 1.5 inch stitching allowance, just like I did for the front. And also I'll be marking the same thing at the waistline. I'll be taking quarter of my waistline, which is 7.5, and also I'll be adding the dart intake, which I am going to include right now. So I'm just taking half of an inch on both sides of the dart, and then I'm going to be connecting that towards the bust line. I'll be stopping at the upper chest line. Now I'm going to continue from where I stopped. I'll be including my dart intake from this point. So I have 1 inch there, and I'll be adding it right back from where I stopped, plus my 1.5 inch stitching allowance. After I was done, it's time to connect the lines. And then I'm going to be completing the armhole curve. Remember, I gave half of an inch around that part. I'm still going to be doing the same thing on the back part. After I was done doing that, the next thing I'll be doing right now is just to go down at the waistline at this part around the zipper. I want to eliminate the zipper bulge and then also give it a little curve. So I'll be taking half of an inch upwards like this, and then I'll go ahead and connect it with a straight line to look slant to this point. And then from there as well, I'll be going inwards by another half of an inch and then slant the line towards the zip. Guys, I am going to be adding back this particular part I am removing right now. I'm going to be adding it back around the side seam. So I have about half of an inch there. I'm going to be shifting it to this part as well, and then I'll connect it to the main line. This means that I'll be doing away with this other line. So I'll just go ahead and cut it out. So guys, after I was done cutting, I'm going to be labeling this as the back piece because it is going to be in one piece. I'm not going to be slashing that. So this dart is going to be folded like this on your fabric when you are joining it. So guys, our patterns are ready. I am just arranging it how it's going to look like before cutting it out. Okay, so this is basically the center front, and then this is the side front. And the next thing I'll be doing right now is just to go ahead and cut it out on my fabric, and that will be in our next video. While cutting this out, I'm going to be adding half of an inch all the way around except for the center front and the side front. And then this is a sneak peek. This is how it looks like after I was done cutting it out, okay? That excess fabric you are seeing right there on the center front is going to be explained in our next video. Until then, bye for now. Remember to smash the subscribe button and also turn on your notification bell so you get more videos like this.